and welcome to a new episode of Cloud Native Chronicles live from KubeCon 2026 in Amsterdam, in our home, kind of our home area, if you will. This week we are going to kind of give you some coverage of what's happening at KubeCon. And together with me is Erik Zandboer of Portworx from Everpure. Erik, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's great. We went off to a great start at KubeCon. Lots of interesting conversations, lots of people to meet. So, yeah, nothing but goodness, I would say.
So there's a couple of topics I want to cover with you.
Sure.
First of all, obviously, we're at KubeCon. It's the biggest cloud native and open source conference of the world. We heard it this morning as well. There's like 15,000 people here. It's the biggest KubeCon so far. So what's kind of like Portworx focus on the open source landscape, if you will?
So when you look at the open source landscape, lots of people are focusing on Kubernetes, right? It is the only viable container orchestrator, I would say. And the problem is it was never built for statefulness. So everything is great in the world of Kubernetes if you're running stateless applications. The problem is more and more people are starting to run databases inside containers or other things inside containers that require statefulness. So that is where Kubernetes in itself falls short. So they have the what we call the CSI, which is like a generic connector for storage into the world of Kubernetes. But at some point that may reach like scaling limits or other limitations that we are trying to alleviate using Portworx.
Now, Portworx is, I think what I really like about Portworx is that you're focusing on one thing and one thing only. That's everything storage for cloud native platforms, which means that being here at KubeCon, there's multiple versions of Kubernetes that you support. One of them being OpenShift.
Yes.
So, Red Hat being a partner of us, you guys being a partner of us, what's kind of like, how does the partnership and the integration between Portworx and OpenShift, what does that look like?
So when you look at the market, you see like there are some people who do vanilla Kubernetes still. Those are the really tiny ones or the really big ones because, well, they have the people to actually make that work. For the rest of the world, which is like the other 99%, we see them massively jump into Red Hat OpenShift. So being able to like get a platform that is much more than just a Kubernetes orchestrator or a container orchestrator, I should say. It's much more like a developer ecosystem. And that is what really resonates with a lot of customers. Again, even though you can build this platform, you now still need a storage solution underneath. And that's where Red Hat often teams with us in order to like combine the best of both worlds, I would say. So they're trying to build the best developer ecosystem / container orchestrator. We are trying to build the best storage solution inside that container orchestrator.
And what's the primary focus of Portworx when it comes to the type of workloads or the type of application you could land on Portworx?
Right. So for like smaller customers, smaller setups, we very often see them use CSI, which is like the connector, which is fine. But at some point, you see customers like either they're growing and they're scaling to a size that the CSI driver really wasn't never designed for to support. You see customers starting to run like more important applications, so business critical applications. Now they're going to go like, if we're going to do this, now we need DR. We need to be able to fail over to another data center. How do you do that? Well, Kubernetes won't solve your problem. CSI was never designed to solve that problem, so they won't solve your problem. So where do you go? So now you have the choice: either go with a storage vendor with a CSI driver that have like bolted on extra functionality to make that work, or you go with a storage solution that is Kubernetes native, and that can be Portworx.
And like one of the things I heard quite recently is like, we have a focus on AI, and Portworx is not like intentionally built for AI, but that's where like your whole portfolio at Everpure kind of adds value, right? So we have Portworx being kind of the platform to land applications on in your Kubernetes stack, but when it comes to the data and where data should reside, that's where Pure Storage comes into play, right?
Yes. Well, we see both sides. So we see customers that are saying like, We don't have petabytes and petabytes of storage, so it's relatively small. So we're going to do everything through block, everything through Kubernetes using Portworx. You can do that. That works. There's also customers who say, for AI, I'm going to need like a little bit of block storage and a really big lot of S3 storage. So at that point, block storage comes through Kubernetes, object storage comes through the network. So at that larger scale, what we very often see is that you build Kubernetes is, well, everything in Kubernetes is scale out. So you're scaling out your solution, and then you're scaling out your storage solution alongside with it to cope with like the enormous bandwidth that you require to actually feed this AI monster. So for smaller customers, we see like the block-only Portworx use case. For really large setups, we see like a combination of both. So they need a storage array that delivers object storage in a scale-out fashion, so you can add more blades to the chassis, make it more performant, get more bandwidth, more performance, more capacity. And then they need a little bit of block, sometimes just for scratch space, sometimes for some smaller workloads, but that's usually the architectural differences that you see when they're constructing an AI platform.
So, selling a cloud native or deploying a cloud native platform by itself honestly has no value. Well, obviously you can run applications on it, but it comes back to like the use cases, like I mentioned, the applications you want to land.
Sure.
What's like the most awesome use case you've ever seen where your technology was being used as part of the stack?
The most awesome use case. So we see a lot of people that do stuff in public cloud. And actually that's where Red Hat lives as well, right? They live in public clouds as well. So what we very often see is that when you connect storage from a public cloud provider, you often need to over-provision to get like enough performance, and then you're gonna have like too many worker nodes because of the scaling issue. Inserting Portworx in those solutions can do like amazing things. It's like all of the storage that is just stranded somewhere just because you needed the performance, you can now all of a sudden use. So building out this abstraction layer between the storage platform and the workloads can work. And basically no matter where it runs. And that's the cool thing about Portworx. The Portworx data services will look the same, even though your infrastructure may be different, even if your Kubernetes flavor may be different, we can still do smart things like replicate and DR between them.
Awesome.
So that's one of the most awesome things that you can do, I think.
Yeah. Well, if one of the viewers would like to start with Portworx, what should I do?
Talk to me.
Right.
Right. I can provide them with a lab to just play around. We have labs that like deploying Google Cloud just to get like
really
a feeling.
Get started. Yeah.
Get a feeling of how things work. Alternatively, especially when you're running OpenShift, you can just download our operator, and then you go to our website at portworx.com. You can actually create what we call like a cluster specification, which is just a piece of YAML code. You feed it to the operator takes care of the rest basically. And then you can start playing with a 30-day trial. That's
awesome.
The easiest way to get started.
First thing I'll do when this week is over.
You should.
Awesome. Well, Erik, thanks so much for being a guest.
Sure.
Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about Portworx, Everpure, Pure Storage, like the whole portfolio, feel free to reach out to Erik. We'll provide his link below this video. For now, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.